In the mid-1990s, I was a teenager in Northern Virginia, and I would go to the movie theater a lot. But in front of that movie theater, there was a bookstore, and as you walked into that bookstore, there was a series of tables with books that were on clearance. And it was at this stage in my life that I began the unhealthy habit of always leaving a bookstore with a book. Now, this led to some real misses, led to some real hits, and also led to my acquiring books that are relatively obscure that I haven't really seen much about aside from when I pass it on my bookshelf. Such is the case with the title that we're talking about today on Casting Across. Hi, I'm Matthew of castingacross.com, where I explore the quarry and culture of fly fishing. The book that we're talking about today is Fly Fishing, Life in Midstream by Turhan Tirana, Reflections and Essays. Now, I honestly have never seen this book in anything I've been reading online, in any of my kind of fly fishing library research that I do. The only place I've seen it is on my bookshelf, and when I have actively been looking for more information on it, which has happened over the last week. So let me tell you a little about this book. First, I'm going to start with some of the critiques that I would level to this book and that actually I've seen online. Now, I want to be fair. These aren't bad things. Like, for example, someone said, he's not as funny as John Gierach. I mean, I'm not as funny as John Gierach. All right, so that's the first thing. The second thing is it kind of bounces around. It touches on a number of different topics and doesn't really go into a lot of detail. And thirdly, there's no overarching narrative. It's not like you start at the beginning and go to the end. Now, those are critiques that I've read online, and they're fair, but I don't think they're particularly bad. In fact, I think that's probably why this book was something that I enjoyed picking up when it came out in 1996. I don't think I got it right when it came out, but probably in the years following, because what it did is it introduced me to kind of the scope of fly fishing writing. I mean, he writes about his experience as a young person. He writes about fishing with his kids, and the two are kind of not related, at least in this book. He talks about the kind of people who fly fish, and there's just some witty observations. He talks about some of the different species you can fish for, the different places in the world that he's fished. And as somebody who's not really super invested in fly fishing at the time, this was new information for me. It wasn't super substantial. It wasn't comprehensive, but it gave me enough to go on to kind of put that in the back of my mind that people actually did this in this way. Fly fishing for carp. This might have been the first time I read a couple of paragraphs about fly fishing for carp. And so I think it was a good book for me at the time, but I don't think it's a bad book now. It's the kind of book that I would say, if you're willing to just add another book to your library and you run across this in a used bookstore, absolutely pick it up, flip through it. Check it out. I mean, the front of it, there are endorsements by the late Jimmy Carter and the late Lefty Kreh. I mean, you're talking about probably the most prominent fly angler of the late 20th century and the most prominent fly fishing public figure of the 20th century. I mean, there's something to be said for that. And you add Joan Wolfe on the back as another endorsement. So again, not the best book, but also not a bad book by any stretch of the imagination. And for so many of us, books that we enjoyed or continue to enjoy fall into that category. Again, for me, his talking about a particular stream in the Virginia mountains kind of drew me to it. I said, I fished there. I'd only fished probably 3 or 4 streams. And so to pick up a book where somebody was fishing in the same place that I had fished, a brand new angler who was having to be driven to streams by my mom or by my friends' moms, that meant something. And also, it's kind of a pretty book. So there's something to be said for that. So if you run across Fly Fishing, A Life in Midstream by Turhan Tirana, pick it up. Read a couple of chapters. Let me know what you think. Then head over to castingacross.com for 3 posts a week on the people, places, and things that go into the pursuit of fish.